Thank you, Hugh. Good afternoon once again. And after decades of near misses, bad luck and at times self-inflicted problems, Wales are where it matters once again. And after they enjoyed the summer of their lives 5 years ago, it's time to deliver. This is very different though to Bordeaux, awash with red shirts, or that glorious night against Belgium in Lille. We're at the eastern outpost of Euro 2020, a year late and without so many of the fans who were such a big part of 2016 success. A long way from home, Wales need to recapture the spirit of the recent past with a team firmly focused on the future. And here is that Wales team once again. Ward in goal, Roberts, Roden, Mepham and Davis the back four, James, Morrell, Allen and Bale in midfield, with Ramsey playing behind Kiefer Moore. Switzerland, Sommer in goal, Elvedi, Cher, Akanji their back three, Mbabu and Rodriguez are the wing backs, Freuler and Xhaka the deepest line midfield players, Shaqiri playing in the hole behind Embolo and Seferovic. Our referee, a very experienced one for this game, Clement Turpin of France. And it's Switzerland wearing all white who will get the game underway, attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. A blast on the whistle from the referee. Both sets of players and officials around the stadium take the knee. And at the crossroads of Eastern Europe and Western Asia, the home challenge begins at UEFA Euro 2020, live on TalkSport. Tomorrow it is England at Wembley. On Monday, Scotland begin at Hampden. And here in the heat of Baku, 3,000 miles from home, we pin our hopes on Wales to make a winning start. Dean Saunders, it's a wonderful setting, not too many fans, but Wales here have got to go for it.
Yeah, need a good start. We watched Turkey last night, backpedaling all night and showing Italy a bit too much respect, not closing down properly. When they come in our half, we've got to press them, but when we win the ball back, we've got some good players to get on the end of them passes. Bale, James, Ramsey, Kiefer Moore. Hope he has a good game. If he plays well today, we'll win.
And Switzerland looking to move forward with Akanji. Borussia Dortmund now wide to Rodriguez down this left-hand side. It's still a fearsomely hot day in the Azeri capital. Temperatures touching 30 degrees Celsius, but the shade has crept across the pitch the longer we've been here. 5 o'clock local time for this game. And that will be very welcome for the players. There is also a breeze circulating around the stadium as well, which is perched on the banks of the Caspian Sea, as Switzerland very patiently look to move the ball around. Wales are doing plenty of chasing in the opening seconds as Kiefer Moore quickly closes down Fabian Schär of Newcastle, and Jurgen Sommer, wearing all yellow, clears downfield. And now Wales pick up the ball. It's quickly wide towards James on the left-hand side. Early cross into the penalty area, looking for more, and it's gathered well by Sommer on the edge of the 6-yard area.
Well, yeah, I mean, we stole the ball off him just on the halfway line. Joe Allen flicks it to Ramsey. Ramsey, brilliant back heel. Joe Allen feeds it out to the left to Dan James, crosses it early with his left foot. Kiefer Moore, get on the end of it. I thought it was a gift. Keeper's dived out and saved it.
And the tempo of the game has been fairly slow from the Swiss in the opening 2 minutes or so here. Live on TalkSport from the Azeri capital, Baku. Switzerland 0, Wales 0, as Wales come forward again with their captain Gareth Bale. Ball to pick up, Roberts down the right, low ball into the 6-yard area, and it's cleared away at the far post by Elvedi. Quickly won back by Bale again, who cuts in field from the right-hand side. High into the sunshine down the left, nodded on again by Davis, into the path of James, back towards Davis. Here is James now, down that left-hand side. Wales just have to be patient. It's back to Morrell inside the centre circle, and Switzerland have dominated possession so far, but in doing that they have barely left their half, but they may do now because Wales have given the ball away. Shaqiri plays it wide towards the far side, and there's the opportunity for Seferovic to try and break towards the edge of the penalty area, but Wales quickly got the red shirts back, and it's been a real game of cat and mouse in the opening 3 minutes or so. It's Akanji with and a high diagonal ball wide towards Mbabu on the far side, but it bounces over his head onto the green carpet covering the running track, and Wales will have a throw in. Dean Saunders.
Well, there you go, Nigel. You know, you can put whatever system you like out. If you give the ball away in the middle of the pitch, your system's not going to work, and there we saw it. Wales give the ball away cheaply after having two brilliant chances, and the ball ends up at Shaqiri's feet, who turns and tries to put the two strikers in. Dangerous.
Davis throws the ball down the line left-hand side, but there was some pushing done by Kiefer Moore there, although there's a quizzical look towards Clement Turpin, and it will be a free kick to Switzerland on the halfway line. We're inside a huge bowl of a stadium over 5 tiers, which holds around 70,000, but I would be surprised if there is more than 5,000 here today. A few hundred Welsh supporters away to the left, and even fewer fans supporting Switzerland over on the far side. Of course, it's been a long, difficult journey for all supporters to get here, and the prospect of a hefty spell in quarantine when you get home, as Akanji comes forward now for Switzerland once again. Xhaka, his first real involvement. Al-Daidi finds Mbabu, and Switzerland look to build on their far side, but again a good challenge comes in from Davis, and it's quickly on towards Morel, who tries to thread it forward towards James, who is just hanging on the shoulder of the wing-back on the far side, Mbabu, and there is space in behind him, but now Mbabu comes forward himself towards the edge of the penalty area, but it breaks down for Switzerland once again, and Morel can clip it wide towards James, quickly forward looking for more, but James rather got his feet in a tangle, and it's out of play for a throw to Switzerland on the far side.
Well, we've started off really well. I don't know what you've seen, Nigel, Kiefer Moore playing for Cardiff, but he does, lots of referees give lots of fouls against him, so he's just going to have to be careful with his arms. He leads with his arms quite a bit.
Now Rodriguez for Switzerland, 5 minutes played on Euro Game Day Live on Talk Sport, live from Baku. Now the dangerous Braylon Bowler down the Switzerland left on this near side, cuts it back square of the penalty area for Xhaka, wide towards Rodriguez, high early cross into the penalty area. There's a far post header across the face of goal, and it was Mbabu arriving, and took a deflection on the way through, and has gone behind for the first goal of Switzerland.
Well, there you go, left wing back, who's got the entire pitch to run into, because obviously we've got no wingers. Great left foot curling ball into the box. Ben Davis just manages to get his head on it. Corner.
Rodriguez will take it. Made his debut for Switzerland against Wales when the team managed by the late Gary Speed beat the Swiss 2-0 back in October of 2011, one of only 2 victories in 7 previous meetings for Wales against Switzerland. Rodriguez just delaying the corner. Now he sweeps it high towards the far post, but it's over the head of Seferovic, and Wales will try and break on the far side. James almost got the better of Mbabu, but a fine challenge from the wing-back, a high swirling cross into the penalty area, but Danny Ward of Leicester City was there to claim.
Well, that's a good battle already. Mbabu over the far side with Dan James. Mbabu's playing right wing-back. Every time he loses the ball, or Switzerland lose it, there's a big hole down the left-hand side of the Swiss defence, and Dan James is in acres of space. So as a coach, the Swiss coach, at some point he's either going to have to say carry on or stop doing it and kill the space.
And James there out in the sunshine at the moment. In contrast, Gareth Bale is coming in field in support of Kiefer Moore in the early stages. 7 minutes played here in Baku. Wales 0, Switzerland 0 in Group A of UEFA Euro 2020, live on Talk Sport. Here is Shaqiri now, down the left-hand side. Challenged though quickly by Mapu, who then slides in with one of those rash challenges he delivers now and again. The Switzerland player has gone down and has stayed down. And Clement Turpin is happy for play to continue until it's eventually knocked out of play. It's Mbolo who has gone down, and Chris Mepham wasn't really in control of that challenge.
Well, I thought, Nigel, it was a fair challenge. I thought he's gone for the ball. He's got to the ball, and Bowler's tried to ride it. He has caught him on the follow-through, but it's that one again where, what are we going to do? Have non-contact football, where defenders can't stick their toe in? Because if they follow through on someone, it's a foul. He'll be up, he's up and about, he's all right.
just a break in play, and players from both sides have been taking on fluids. We've been here for Talk Sport in the Azerbaijani capital since Tuesday, and it's got hotter and hotter the longer we've been here, hasn't it?
Yeah, but the 3/4 of the pitch is now in shade, which is great news for the boys who aren't 100%.
Clear blue skies overhead as Wales sportingly give the ball back to Switzerland. Connor Roberts just pumps it long downfield, and it's gathered by Jan Sommer, one of a number of German-based players in this Swiss team. They qualified very, very impressively ahead of Denmark in their group, but they've had a mixed season, disappointing Nations League programme, but 5 successive wins since then, although some of the opposition has been fairly moderate to poor. But here is Shaqiri, given too much room by Wales once again to find Rodriguez down the left-hand side. Switzerland just beginning to take a grip on possession in this game inside the Wales half. Now on Barbu once again. Davis will shepherd him towards the wider area. It's back in field towards Elvedi, and Switzerland are moving the ball around very swiftly here, and in this heat Wales are having to do a good deal of chasing in the opening 9.5 minutes.
I don't mind them having the ball at the back three. They're not good ball players. I don't mind Xhaka having the ball. It's Shaqiri and the front two we don't want on the ball. So they've got to be conscious when they're pressing. Joe Allen and Morel have got to be looking over their shoulder non-stop. Where's Shaqiri? They can have it on the halfway line. Not urging us.
Xhaka now threads a good ball forward, wide to the far side, and Freuler now on Barbu, and Xhaka again is taking control of that midfield area. James has come in field to try and deal with him, but Switzerland will move it forward again into the channel for Mbolo, now popping up down the left-hand side, but he is quickly challenged by Joe Rodon, and it will be a throw into Switzerland, 10 yards from the corner flag on the Welsh left. And Wales have enjoyed only 23% of the possession so far in the opening 10 minutes of the game, but it is 0-0 here on Talk Sport, the first of 3 games we're bringing you across the network today at 5 o'clock over on Talk Sport 2, the all-Nordic derby between Denmark and Finland with Alex Crook and David Connolly. There's a high ball into the penalty area, looking for Mbolo, it's defended well by Rodon, it breaks on the edge of the box, fired through the crowd though by Xhaka, and it spins away off a Swiss teammate, and it will be a goal kick.
Yeah, they keep the ball nicely, Switzerland, and you think they look like they're controlling the game, but we're allowing them to have the ball in certain spots. Great header out from Rodon there. Normally it's 2v2 in the box, so we're all right with that. If they start putting 4 or 5 players in there, you can see why they don't score that many, but don't concede that many. They've got 2 sitting midfield players who don't actually try and get into goal-scoring positions.
Belgium against Russia also coming up on Talk Sport with Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce at 8 o'clock this evening. And of course Jim, Stuart and Mark Saggers will be live from Wembley 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for England against Croatia. And Alex Crook alongside Jim White and Chris Iwelumo will be at Hampden Park. An early afternoon kick-off on Monday as Scotland begin their challenge against the Czech Republic. But at the moment, it is all about Wales here on Talk Sport, here in Baku. 0-0 against Switzerland with 12 minutes played. Another long ball forward for the Swiss, wide to this near side, seeking out Ricardo Rodriguez. Is overhit into what is a huge Welsh technical area. There is so much room around the pitch here inside the Olympic Stadium in Baku, and Wales will have a throw in once again, and Connor Roberts throws the ball long across the field, and it's found Ramsey, who was given space to turn and play it wide to Ben Davies down the left-hand side. James just holding his position, back in towards Ramsey, a high diagonal seeking out Bell, who brings it down superbly, and it's gone beyond Rodriguez. Needs to be a good cross into the penalty area. Bell checks back onto his left foot, high towards the far post, but it's beyond the incoming Kiefer Moore and behind for a goal kick.
Gareth Bale showing a bit of class there. I think it was Morel who's opened his body out and pinged it the width of the pitch, and Gareth Bale's got under the ball and it's come over his shoulder. Really difficult skill. He's brought it down on the top of his foot. Class.
Switzerland try and play their way out once again, but in the end the Welsh press was very good, and Sommer has to lump it downfield. It's gathered by Roberts on this near side, the right. Morel is heavily involved once again, but the ball back to him from Roberts is cut out, and here is Xhaka. Now Freuler, who has had another excellent season for Atalanta in Italy Serie A. And Barbu down the right-hand side, finding the blonde-haired Elvedi once again, and Switzerland are looking to push the wing-backs forward as much as they can whenever they're in possession, so as a result there is plenty of green grass behind them if Wales can win the ball back. But at the moment Wales are fairly deep themselves. Elvedi, and it's a high ball forward again, looking for the run of Mbabu down the right-hand side, but it's gathered by Danny Ward, who has kept his place in the Welsh team ahead of Wayne Hennessy. Considering his performance in the warm-up game against the French, that's entirely right.
Yeah, big decision. Both of them haven't played a league game, but Danny Ward, I think Danny Ward's staked his claim in the French game and he deserves to play. We're organised. I'm watching it, and Nigel, and I'm quite confident, even when Switzerland got the ball, that we're all right.
Davis now finding James in the sunshine on the far side, looking to use his pace. High cross into the penalty area.
Goal.
The header is tipped over the top. It was Kiefer Moore with the header, and Sommer seemed to have lost it, but at the last moment he thrust up a right hand and turned the ball over the top.
I thought it was in. What a header. Kiefer Moore, back where it come from. Great cross from the byline from Dan James with his left foot as well. He's improving all the time, Dan James. It's a great cross. Moore's pulled to the back post, and it's one of them John Toshak headers. Back where it come from, the goalkeeper is going the wrong way, gets his hand on it. How that's not gone in, what a save.
That is the value of Kiefer Moore, and also Dan James cutting in from that left-hand side. It will be an in-swinging corner from James into the 6-yard area. Moore's the target once again. He wins the header, almost heads it back out towards James, and there's now a clash of heads inside the penalty area involving Kiefer Moore. He looks to be okay, but the Swiss player is currently down, and that's Fabian Schär. In fact, it's Mbabu who is down on the edge of the 6-yard area, and both medical teams will come up.
Yeah, it's just a clash in the box, but you know, it's a clash of heads. Mbabu's, is it Mbabu?
Yeah, Mbabu, yeah.
He's trying to head it away, help it on its way, and Kiefer Moore's coming in for another header, and I think he's just headed, clash of heads. I think he's okay, but there's an advantage, you know, like even on a Sunday league you have a big striker playing, because you can get into the opposition's half quickly and get your players joining in. If you can't play total football because your players are not good enough, you put a big striker up there and he keeps the ball in the box. There's the advantages of it. When you're trying to play with a false number 9, you're actually trying to thread the ball through. Brooks and Harry Wilson will feel unlucky they're not playing today, but the tactics, I think so far Robert Page has got them spot on. I know we've not had much of the ball, 16 minutes gone, we've had the 3, we could be 3-0 up, we've had 3 good chances.
But some blood has been spilt there on the head of Kiefer Moore. It's above his right eyebrow, and at the moment the Welsh medical team are out there to try and patch him up.
What a save. We've just seen the replay again of that save from Sommer. He's actually going the wrong way, and he's got his right arm trailing behind him, and he's just managed to flick it over the bar. Good header though, Kiefer Moore. Again, I mean, if you're a centre forward and you say, guess what I'm going to do for you today, Kiefer? I'm going to put Dan James one side of you and Gareth Bale the other side of you, and just in case you're on for a through ball, I've got Aaron Ramsey. So it's a dream to play in this game for him.
It's been an amazing journey for Kiefer Moore. Of course, 5 years ago when Wales were playing at Euro 2016, he was in non-league football, but he's had a rapid rise, and he has delivered at every single level when he's made that move up.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm Elvedi, the right side of the 3 centre-backs, I wouldn't be happy with what's going on, because Dan James is just lingering out on the left, and he's getting dragged out there. And as you know, big centre-backs don't like being out on the touchline. Dan James causing havoc.
It's the first of 3 games for Wales in this group, and we'll be live from the stadium once again on Wednesday, 5 o'clock kickoff, and it will be a very different atmosphere when Wales play Turkey, because the stadium will have around 31,000 fans in it, and 30,000 of those will be Turkish, as treatment continues for Kiefer Moore on this near side. Wales continuing with 10 men at the moment, and of course without their attacking focal point, with 18 minutes played here on Euro Game Day Live here in Baku. It is Wales 0, Switzerland 0, as Allen snaps in with a challenge on Mbolo just inside the Welsh half, but Mbolo comes away with the ball, finds Mbabu, which is threaded in field looking for Seferovic, but Wales do well to win it back once again. Roberts will turn on this right hand side, plays a long ball forward in search of Bale, and in the end the challenge comes in from Akanyi to ensure that Ramsey can't play the ball forward, and Kiefer Moore has returned to the action.
Yeah, he's got a big red strap in right round his head.
Seferovic has beaten to it by Roden on the edge of the penalty area, but it's quickly won back for Switzerland as Mbabu looks to weave his way towards the byline, and he's been challenged by Davis, and Davis is exasperated as Switzerland win another corner.
Yeah, danger man is Shah. He scored 8 goals for him from set plays, probably most of them. I'm sure they'll have a plan for him, that they'll put our best, maybe Roden's marking him. Shaqiri's taking it.
Dean Saunders, the man who won 75 caps for Wales, alongside us here on Talk Sport live from the Olympic Stadium in Baku. Shaqiri's corner, low in, flicked on at the near post, and it's a brilliant save by Danny Ward to keep it out, and it was Fabian Schär who came in, and it was a Rabona from the central defender, but Ward was alert to the danger and he kept it out.
Yeah, I think Chris Mepham's let him run.
Call is played in again. This time it's Moore who sweeps the ball away on the edge of the 6-yard area. Both sides looking vulnerable from set pieces in the early stages. Now Shaqiri once again. High ball towards the far post. Ward will come and Ward will claim.
Well done, Danny Ward. Well, it's a great save with his legs. I mean, it's a outswinger, and it's one of them back heels that people try when they get past the ball, and it's going in. Danny Ward's just stuck his leg out. Great reflexes.
20 minutes played here in Baku, 0-0. A rather strange atmosphere inside the stadium. There's almost the hum you get at the first day of a test match at Lord's at the moment, rather than any huge blasts of volume from either sets of supporters who are really swamped inside this stadium, which is a wonderful venue, but one of several around the Azeri capital. We've been taken aback by the skyline at times as we've wandered around between our media duties at the Tofik Brakramov Stadium, which is Wales's training ground, named after the linesman who had no doubts that Geoff Hurst's goal in the 1966 World Cup final across the line, as Wales have given the ball away. Davis robbed by Mbabu, early cross into the area, headed away by Mepham at the far post. Now Rodriguez down the left on the corner of the penalty area. The crossing once again is flicked on by Seferovic, and it's harmless and wide.
Well, Ben Davies gives the ball away in the left back area, and they break away, get a crossing. Chris Mepham, magnificent defending. He had a choice. He's got 2 players, one coming around the back of him, one going into the middle of the goal, and he held his ground and picked the right decision. He stood his ground in between the both of them. Fortunately, headed it out. But there you go. If you give the ball away, don't care what system you play.
We spoke to Chris Mepham pitchside at training the other day, and he was talking about how he's had to try and shake off the disappointment of that red card he received for Bournemouth in the playoff semi-final live on Talk Sport against Brentford, and he said that going away with Wales has really helped him to get his head right for this tournament.
It's difficult for the staff and the manager. It takes you 2 weeks to lose your fitness. You know, if you've been injured or anything, Nigel, normally it's about, and you haven't played, 2 weeks before you start struggling breathing wise. So to keep them right for this game is difficult. You've got 26 of them.
Midpoint of the first half here on Talk Sport, 0-0. Wales with the best opportunity so far, although Danny Ward did have to make a fine save, and there was a problem with the ball here. And the ball, which was brought out by the small car, has now been dispensed with, and we will have another one. So there was another break in play, and it's been Rather stop-start so far due to injuries. And
if I'm Petkovic now, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, thinking, how do you think this game's going? 23 minutes in, I wouldn't be happy. I think Wales look like there's a goal around the corner.
Well, Switzerland have had 65% possession so far, but Wales have created more clear-cut chances.
Yeah, we're letting them have the ball, and then when we pinch it back, Dan James is getting in down the left.
And now an opportunity for Switzerland to attack down their right-hand side again. It's Seferovic, who just for a moment was in behind Davis, but didn't quite have the pace to go beyond him. Now Euler breaking towards the penalty area, back towards Seferovic, the crossing, looking for Rodriguez, and it was heads-up defending there from Connor Roberts to head the ball away. It's now fired back through the crowd from the edge of the penalty area by Granit Xhaka, and it's a couple of yards wide.
Yeah, a bit of a sustained attack there, and it goes back to that Turkey game last night. Turkey, it's all right dropping back into your own half and defending, but you've got to get out to the ball once you get in position, and Wales just sunk back into the box a little bit there. 35 yards from goals, good players can hurt you. You can't let them have a freedom of the pitch. You've got to close them down, get their heads down.
And we are bringing you commentary on TalkSport of all the home nations over the next 3 days. No one else is bringing you our depth of coverage. We have had a fantastic time here in Baku so far, enjoying the surroundings, and Wales have been very amenable as well, giving us what we need in terms of work, and they do seem to be a bunch enjoying themselves as well. The high ball is played forward looking for Seferovic, and it's headed away by Roden, who's had a decent start to the game. Up and under from Davis towards the halfway line, nodded back in field by Elvedi, then it's eventually brought down by Allen, but the challenge quickly comes in from Shaqiri, and Switzerland quickly get white shirts around the ball again. 25 minutes played, 0-0 here in Baku in the second match of Group A at UEFA Euro 2020. Italy, very impressive last night in their 3-0 win. We brought you live from inside the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. And Turkey under pressure when they play Wales here on Wednesday. Now Seferovic looks to thread it through into the penalty area, and in the end it's left for Danny Ward to clear downfield, which is something he manages to do. Kiefer Moore is winning absolutely everything in the air so far, glances the ball on but he can't pick out a teammate, and Switzerland will gather once again. Now Freuler always has time on the ball. Now the option of Xhaka, but goes back towards the three central defenders once again. Akanya wide towards Rodriguez down this left-hand side. Xhaka once again, as Switzerland look to move the ball around with a good deal of comfort inside the Wales half. And Babu threaded low towards Seferovic, back to goal. He turns and shoots, and it's some way wide in the end. In the cricket, New Zealand are now 353 for 8. Henry Wood, LBW for 12. That's a lead of 50 over England in the second test at Edgbaston. But Switzerland beginning to find some room around the Wales penalty area, Dean Saunders.
Yes, Seferovic showed his class, shows why he gets goals. He's got his back to goal on the right hand side, and he rolls infield, whips it with his left foot. Danny Ward, I think, had it covered. But good players refuse to be marked out of a game. So what Shaqiri's done, he can't get on the ball in the pocket in the number 10 position, so he's gone beyond our midfield towards his own back four, and he's making an extra man in there for him, and their wing backs are then able to creep up the pitch a bit further, so they end up with a 4 across the top. So he's clever, but I'd rather him have it back there than in the pocket.
27 minutes played, 0-0 here in the Olympic Stadium in Baku, a city of 2.2 million people, which dwarfs every other major conurbation in Azerbaijan, as Wales win a free kick on the halfway line. Freuler with the challenge, and Wales look to try and build again. It was Davis who was fouled. He then plays it back to Joe Roden, who made his debut against Azerbaijan back in September of 2019. Moore does well to win another ball in the air, tries to pick out Bale, but Switzerland clears. Xhaka hooks it over his shoulder, but he's given the ball away, but he quickly wins it back. There was indecision there between Allen and and Morel, and here is Shaqiri in one of those dangerous pockets of space on the edge of the area, looked to find Seferovic. He claimed he was fouled as he passed the ball, but Seferovic had stopped running there and Danny Ward was able to gather.
Well, we're lucky there because we lost the ball again. Shaqiri picks it up in the dangerous number 10 position and Mbubu's in. All he's got to do is thread him in. He chose the wrong option.
But here is Shaqiri again, popping up on the left-hand side now. And he drew Mepham out of the centre to make the challenge. Now Shaqiri will find Xhaka. He plays one of those audacious balls with the outside of his left boot right across the field, but he found Fabian Schär. Once again, Wales are very deep here whenever they are out of possession. Nobody is within 25 yards of the halfway line with 29 minutes played here. Xhaka looking for Mbabu at the far post, volleys the ball back in field, looking for Seferovic, but he volleyed the ball into the ground, and now Wales win it back, and they can break with the pace of Dan James, sprinting over the halfway line, left-hand side. He's got support from Maureen. James goes alone, and he's been cynically hacked down on the edge of the penalty area, and we will see the game's first yellow card because James was in there. Fabian Schär knew it, and that's a horrible foul, but it's a free kick for Wales.
I know it sounds bad. I think he's got to foul him. There was no way he was going to keep out with him. We've broke Dan James again, lingering down that side, and this is obviously the tactics we've got for today, and it's working. And he's just a yard outside the corner of the box. Another step forward, he's in the box. But Schär, experienced defender, Premier League defender at Newcastle, I think he's had to take a yellow for the team there.
Well, had he not taken him down, he was in. But Gareth Bale is over the free kick, and it is half a yard outside the penalty area on the left corner of the Swiss box, and they have pulled every single white shirt back defending. Gareth Bale pacing out his run with the red wall expectant behind that goal. Bale, of course, scored Wales' opening goal with a free kick in Bordeaux against Slovakia 5 years ago. Ramsey is forward along with Roden and Mepham lurking inside the penalty area. Kiefer Moore will be one of the main targets. He's at the far post as well. 3 in the Swiss wall, including Shaqiri. Bale just squinting in the sunshine as he assesses his options. He strikes it left-footed, high towards the far post and beyond everybody. Nobody got the touch, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Chris Mepham, it's on your head. All he's got to do is put his head on it. It's a great ball from Bale. He loses sight of it, I think. He gets in between defenders. It's right on his head, and he never seen it. It's gone flashing past his nose for a header. Good ball from Bale.
Virtually the whole of the pitch is now shaded, which will be very welcome for the players who have been sweating it out in the highest temperatures of the day in the early afternoon at training since Wales arrived here on Monday evening. So Kanye plays it in field towards Schär, who will now have to manage that red card or yellow card for the final hour or so of the game.
Tactical battle going over on that right hand side there, Nigel. And Mbabu is getting right high up with Ben Davies stranded on his own. But if Switzerland lose the ball, Dan James is then in the space that Mbabu's come out of.
And that's the ball that Wales are looking for again. Davies plays it high over the shoulder of James and out of play, but Nico Elvedi is not enjoying that because he's having to come out all the time to try and deal with James because Mbabu was so much committed onto the attack.
Yeah, and he's got, Dan James's Olympic sprinting pace. So, and on top of that, it's the only bit of the pitch that's not got shaded. So we can see him breathing now.
Now Freuler. Wide towards the far side again as Switzerland look to try and re-establish their passing rhythm. They've had possession of over 60% since the very start of the game. But they're not really hurting Wales where it really matters so far, with nearly 33 minutes played here in Baku. Rodriguez down the left-hand side has to stretch out a long leg to keep the ball in play, and he's done so well by the corner flag. Brushes aside Roberts, finds Freuler, high cross into the penalty area, and Ward had come for that, but in the end there was a lack of communication between Ward and Davis, but Davis managed to rise above Mbabu and guide the ball behind for a corner.
Yeah, great defending. Again, I mentioned Turkey earlier, and for those of the people who didn't watch the game last night, they just kept backpedaling, letting crosses come in the box, letting people open their body out and try and hit the stanchions. Italy were having a field day. We're all right as long as we don't creep into that mode where we just all get behind the ball, think we're safe, and we're not.
Shaqiri, an in-swinging corner from the far side, low into the near post, looking for Akanji, and it was deflected behind for another corner. It was Davis again. They're going for that in-swinging corner, low in towards the edge of the 6-yard area, and this time it was one of the other central defenders, Akanji, who was almost on the end of it.
He should have scored, Akanji. Another exact same situation.
In towards the near post again. This time Kiefer Moore heads the ball away. It's ball back into the penalty area. Moore will rise above Akanji, but now Freuler lofts it wide towards Shaqiri, who of course does have that low centre of gravity, but he finds it very difficult to spin in behind Joe Morrell, who has covered a huge amount of ground for Wales in the opening 34 minutes. 0-0 here on Euro Game Day Live on Talk Sport, the first of 3 games today. Denmark against Finland at 5 o'clock over on Talk Sport 2. Belgium against Russia, 8 o'clock here on Talk Sport. And following us, Adrian Durham and Dean Ashton, live from Rome, will digest what we've seen so far at UEFA Euro 2020. We'll also get reaction from pitchside from Wales at the end of their first game, with Turkey coming up here on Wednesday, and then that ominous looking trip to Rome to face Italy next Sunday. Rodriguez with a throw in, back towards Akanji once again, and Switzerland content to move the ball around at walking pace in this sort of area just inside the Wales half. Quickly on though from Xhaka, Seferovic finding Mbolo, but the attempted curler right-footed spins away off a Welsh leg and behind for another Swiss corner.
Yeah, on that same side. So, come on lads, twice they could have scored, near post. The man in the hole's not in the right position. From a low corner, looked like a miss kick. They could have scored 2. Don't let it happen again.
Shaqiri is over the corner. And once again, Mbolo was waiting inside the 6-yard area, and there is a bus queue of Swiss players who now split, looking to win the ball at the near post, but it's met by Kiefer Moore, showing his value in both penalty areas so far. And now Wales look to break over the halfway line on this near side with Ramsey. Early ball into the area. Bale was making the run down the centre, but I think the cross may have just taken a deflection which took the sting out of it, and Freuler will guide it back towards Sommer.
Well, you can actually say Gareth Bale's touched the ball about 3 times. Aaron Ramsey's touched it about 4 times. Dan James has been lethal. Kiefer Moore's been dangerous, but the 2 star players, I've watched them, Nigel, since they were young, and I've watched Gareth Bale playing for Wales, and he goes out of games for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, time and time again, he'll do something unstoppable. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens today.
Well, he scored in all 3 group games back in 2016. Freuler plays the ball forward, which is deflected high off Seferovic, back towards Freuler again. And now Seferovic down the left-hand side for Switzerland. And Mbolo looking to turn into the penalty area beyond Roberts, and then Roberts does well to recover. He was pulled back by Mbolo. The cross was driven in by Rodriguez, and Bale has time to flick it back into the fullback area. Roberts will find Mepham, and he clears long downfield. Kiefer Moore claims he was being held there by Akanji, but Elvedi has time to bring the ball down for Switzerland. 8 minutes to play in the first half here on Talk Sport, live from the capital of Azerbaijan. 0-0, but I think Wales will be generally satisfied, Dean Saunders, with how things are going.
Yeah, but creeping in, is this just, I mean, I know it's hot, and we talked about the heat beforehand. When Switzerland keep the ball in their own half, the midfield players just shuffle across the pitch. The danger is, when you're shuffling, if Chris Mepham and Roden, they don't speak to Joe Allen and Morrell. Shaqiri sneaks off them and finds a little hole somewhere. So you've got to concentrate. When you're shuffling across, you're looking at the ball, but you've got one eye on Shaqiri, and you talk to each other. I've got him, you've got him. But as long as the ball don't go in there, we're all right.
Now Kevin Mbabu of Wolfsburg finding Elvedi. And Mbabu has been one of the main attacking threats for Switzerland on their right-hand side, the wing-back, Freuler, who is such a clever player, just uses the ball very well for Switzerland. He finds Akanji. Now Freuler again. Rodriguez is the option in field. And Bolo has come very short outside the penalty area, looking to try and pull Morrell out of position, but Morrell stayed where he was. So here is Cher inside the centre circle, picking out Elvedi, and the whole of the pitch is now in shade. The temperature is still showing 29 degrees Celsius at approaching 6 o'clock in the evening. Rodriguez with a high ball across the field to the far
well
side.
Done, Ben
Good
Davis.
leap though by Davis to win the ball above Mbabu, and Switzerland will have a throw-in on the far side. But we worried maybe that a number of the newcomers in the Welsh team could possibly freeze on such a big occasion, and that's not happened so far in this match. Rodriguez coming in field beyond Roberts, dinked into the area looking for Mbolo. It's nodded down dangerously by Joe Allen, but cleared away. Safety first from Joe Roden, and it will be a throw-in for Switzerland just in front of the Welsh technical area. And Rob Page is out there wearing all black, looking to micromanage. He must have never imagined he'd be involved in this sort of situation when he stepped up to the senior team in the summer of 2019 to initially assist Ryan Giggs, but of course he is now taken over on an interim basis with Ryan Giggs supporting the team at home. As Switzerland come forward again with Akanji, has Rodriguez wide on the left-hand side, but now there's space for Freuler. Low ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Seferovic turns, strikes it, right-footed, but too high once again.
Too passive defending. I mean, Robert Page, you're just talking about Pagey, he's played in loads of games like this. Nearly every game he played for Wales, we never had the ball. So he knows he knows how them two centre-backs feel right now. If there's no pressure on the ball, if our midfield players are not pressurising their midfield players, you get players picking their head up and flipping the ball in behind you as a centre-back, you're in big trouble. So I'm sure half-time you'll say, look, it's all right getting behind the ball, keep the intensity up, don't just have a breather. You've got to get out to people, close them down, stop crosses coming in the box, stop shots.
The Wales fans decked out in red away to our right-hand side, looking to get behind the team. But the hymns and arias have to travel a long way to reach the players in this venue. As Elvedi picks it up for Switzerland on the far side. 4 minutes to play in the first half. 0-0 here in Baku in Wales' opening game of UEFA Euro 2020. Mbolo inside the area, has support, but loses out initially to Mepham. Roden then makes the challenge, and Babu gathers by the corner flag on the far side. He initially wriggled beyond Davis, who recovered well. He clips the ball down the line, out of play, and Switzerland have the throw-in. And at the moment, Wales just need to see this out at 0-0 for half-time.
Ben Davis is playing well, defending really well. He's got Mbabu coming at him all the time, and he's dealing with it.
Davis, one of a number of players in the Welsh team who's got very little football behind him coming into this tournament. He's now fouled Kevin Mbabu, and it will be a free kick for Switzerland on the far side. Davis hasn't appeared in the Premier League for Spurs since March the 4th due to a calf injury, and there was some concern that he would be unavailable for this tournament, but the players that Rob Page needed are all here, and they're all playing here today.
Yeah, I spoke too soon there. He's given a needless foul away. Ben, he's got his back to play. Ben, just close him down. You don't have to stick your leg in. He's facing his own goal. 35 yards out on the right wing. They've now got a free kick, a dangerous situation. Shah's come up from the back, who's dangerous. I'm looking at this game thinking, commentator's curse again though, Nige. Can they hurt us on a regular basis, this team? Shaqiri can hurt you if you turn your back for a second. I'm not sure where the other threats are coming from. The two strikers look average.
Well, they've had 9 attempts on goal, Switzerland, 1 on target.
Yeah, they've been sort of half chances, haven't they? We've had some clear-cut chances, but I still think it's a matter of time before that situation on that side, with Dan James is there, he gets in on goal and creates some. He's created 3 chances for us already.
Shaqiri is over the free kick for Switzerland. It's a long way out on the Swiss right-hand side. Mbolo will be one of the targets towards the far post, and it's headed behind by Bale, and it will be a Swiss corner with 90 seconds to play in the first half here on TalkSport Live from Baku.
Well done, Gareth Bale. Gone back into his own box, got his head on the ball, deal with it, don't concede from set plays.
Ricardo Rodriguez of Torino will take the corner on this near side as we tick towards the end of 45 minutes. Wales have to stand firm here, and there will be a minimum of 2 added minutes. Rodriguez with the corner, and it was met by Mepham at the far post. Seferovic hooks it back into the 6-yard area. Rising to clear was Roberts, but Switzerland have it on the edge of the penalty area. But Shaqiri, well robbed by Ramsey, who quickly plays it forward looking for James on the breakaway, but good covering by Mbabu this time. Switzerland will almost give the ball away, and in the end they have a throw-in on the far side.
Well, there's that tactic again. We stole the ball off on the edge of our own box, and Dan James is nearly away again.
Now Xhaka wide towards Rodriguez on this near side. The Swiss fans looking to get behind their team as we approach half-time. Almost won back by Ramsey on the halfway line, and the Swiss are extremely vulnerable to a turnover, but now they're attacking Mbolo inside the penalty area, finding Seferovic, and he's lofted it too high, 8 yards out. A glorious chance for Switzerland. Wales switched off, and Seferovic should have scored.
Well, it's a dink ball into our penalty spot, and Mbolo's pinned Chris Mepham, and Chris Mepham's about to give a penalty away. He's backing into him, and Mbolo lays a lovely ball off, and Seferovic has side-footed it over the bar. These two strikers, they're not lethal. They're not bad.
Well, Seferovic scored 26 goals this season, but Mbolo only 6 in 41 for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And we have VAR. I'm very surprised, I have to say, that VAR did not look at the potential penalty appeal there, because there was a clear shirt pull on Mbolo.
Yeah, but Mbolo was backing into him, so he had nowhere to go, Chris Mepham, but he did grab his shirt.
Mepham now wins the ball above Mbolo, who has gone down and stayed down in the centre circle, but Wales play on. High forward for Morel, looking for Bale. Good defending though from Rodriguez down this near side to quickly evade Moore, and he finds Mbabu on the right. 30 seconds of added time to play in the first half here in Azerbaijan. Wales 0, Switzerland 0. One clear-cut chance for Wales, and they have soaked up plenty of Swiss pressure around that.
You know, in the first 5 minutes, Nige, we get 2 great chances. Bale gets down the right-hand side and squares it across the face. Dan James gets down the left and squares it across the face. You can't teach strikers where to be. Aguero reads it, gets on the end of it. Ian Rush reads it. Harry Kane read it. That's why they're top players.
But that's half-time, and the Wales fans rise to acclaim their team. 0-0 in Baku. Kiefer Moore with a great header, which forced an even better save from Jan Sommer, but Danny Ward has been the busier of the 2 goalkeepers, and Switzerland have missed a host of chances inside the Welsh penalty area, and Rob Page has work to do in the dressing room at half-time. It is Wales 0, Switzerland 0. Thank you, Hugh, and Wales are about to get the second half underway. In all red, playing from right to left, with those who've managed to make the journey here from the red wall behind the goal, which Danny Ward is defending. A reminder of the 2 sides again. Ward in goal for Wales. Roberts, Rodon, Mepham and Davis the back four. Burrell and Allen are the central midfielders, with James, Ramsey and Bale behind Moore. The Switzerland team, Sommer in goal, Elvedi, Shah and Akanyi, their back three, Rodriguez and Mbabu the wing backs, Freuler and Xhaka the deepest lying midfield players, with Shaqiri behind Mbolo and Seferovic. And there is space here for Mbolo to break forward down the centre for Switzerland, finding Mbabu back towards Mbolo again, but the shot is blocked on the edge of the penalty area by Davis, and then there is a late challenge on this near side by Mbabu on James, and it will be a free kick for Wales. And Dean Saunders, what do you think that Rob Page may have said at half-time?
We can't let them play through us. If they're going to have possession and they are going to get on top of us, let them come down the outsides of us, but they can't go through the middle of us. We can deal with it. If the wing backs get the ball and put crosses in the box, we can head them out, but we can't deal with Shaqiri getting on the ball, and 40 seconds into the second half they get in there again.
Flicked on by Moore, long ball down the centre, but Moore again has been penalised, and Kiefer Moore receives a yellow card, and we did fear that may happen. Fabian Schär has gone down and made the most of it, but if Kiefer Moore goes up raising his arms, defenders will go down and he will get yellow cards.
Well, we talked about it. There you go. He's leading with his arms, but how'd you jump without lifting your arms up? I don't know what they expect. I'll tell you what I've noticed, Nigel, in the last 2 years. I don't know if you've noticed it. Because they've told players they can't jump with their arms up, there's more clash of heads. There's more head injuries. Because you use them as protection. You're not trying to hurt people. But if you jump with your neck straight up in the air with no arms and no protection, the next thing you hit is someone's head. Whereas the arms, when both players jump with their arms up, there's a bit of protection there.
Well, Rob Page was stood there, arms outstretched, but Shah has stayed down. He's now holding his nose. The spider cam inside the stadium swooped down to give us a nostril-sized view of his injury as Vladimir Petkovic heads out to the edge of his technical area. He's a coach who has been linked with St. Petersburg. He could be heading back to club football at the end of this tournament, but he is somebody who is vastly experienced, only the second Swiss coach to take them to 3 successive tournaments, but they often qualify very well and then do very little when they get there, although they did reach the round of 16 back in France 5 years ago, but in the Euros as a whole they've only won 2 of their previous 13 games. Now Mbolo spinning behind Roden, he can break into the penalty area, and the shot is turned aside superbly by Danny Ward, and there is the danger. Rick clear for Wales. Mbolo spinning 35 yards out, using his power, and the shot kept out superbly by Ward.
It's a great save, but there you go. That's why you play 3 centre-backs. We talked about this at half-time. If your 2 strikers are better than your 2 centre-backs, play 3 centre-backs. And it was a 2v2 situation. They played round the corner to each other. Gets a shot in, good save.
Corner kick high into the penalty area. Downward header from Mbolo, and Switzerland have taken the lead. Wales falling asleep at the set piece, and Mbolo, who was initially denied by Ward, with a downward header. The Wales goalkeeper helpless this time, and the Dragons fall behind in Baku. It is Wales 0, Switzerland 1.
It's just poor defending. Poor defending. They've got a simple corner. Centre forward heads it in 4 yards out on his own. We've got to do better than that. I think it's Connor Roberts is marking him, and he's that busy trying to grapple him. Pick the flight of the ball up and just head it. It's poor defending.
Only Mbolo's 6th international goal and his 44th appearance, and there was a real mismatch there with Mbolo rising above Roberts at the far post, and Wales will have to come from behind in their opening game at UEFA Euro 2020, and whatever Rob Page did say at half-time has now been torn up.
I guarantee you would have said, let's stay in the game. 5 minutes gone, we lose a goal. Well, we've got to dig in now.
Davis coming forward down the left-hand side, finding James. Mbabu was back, but James does find Davis, who goes down looking for the free kickers. The challenge comes in from Elvedi, but nothing was forthcoming, and in the end Switzerland do get a throw in on this near side. Of course, with Turkey coming up here on Wednesday and then Italy in Rome, we've always said since we arrived in Baku on TalkSport, Wales have got to win this game, and at the moment it does look a long shot.
Yeah, and all the tactics and all the systems and all the possession, if you don't defend set plays properly, in international matches it's been proven 65% of them are won on a set play. You've got to do that properly. That's the bit where you stand on the training ground for hours. I'm just looking at the goal again. I don't think I've ever scored a goal when 3 yards out and not had to jump and head a corner in. Terrible.
Wales have got to respond here positively. Now Bale down the right-hand side. More weights in the centre. High cross in, looking for more, but it was hung up. Too much air there from Gareth Bale, and it's gathered by Jan Sommer. 51 minutes played. Wales 0. Switzerland 1 in the first game involving the home nations and Euro UEFA 2020. As Mbolo again is too clever for Mepham, spins in field and breaks towards the edge of the Welsh penalty area. They can't cope with him at the moment. He finds Mbabu, and Mbabu tried to thread the ball across the face of goal. It may have been a shot, but in the end he almost picked out Freuler at the far post, and Wales at the moment defensively are a shambles.
Well, I'm not going to criticise Robert Page's team selection because I like the look of the team. The danger was, if we're going to play with a back four, are our two centre-backs good enough to cope with their two strikers? And right now they're not. So I'd consider putting another centre-back in there, go to a three at the back.
Moore does well to chest the ball on to James on this near side. The first cross is blocked. He then goes beyond Shah, who is on a yellow card, finding Ramsey. We've seen little of him, but he delivers the cross in, headed away at the near post. And now Wales win it back quickly with Allen on this near side. James holds his position to avoid being offside. And now Ramsey again plays it back towards Morale. We've seen so little possession from Wales inside the Swiss half. Bale jinks inside, but he's challenged by Freuler, and the ball ricochets away on the far side, and a goal kick has been given in the end.
Yeah, I thought that was the moment. We worked the ball across to Gareth Bale on the right hand side. He's trying to shift it on his left foot and get a shot off, and nearly gets one off. Referee gives a goal kick, but it looks like it was a corner.
This time tomorrow we'll be at Wembley for England against Croatia, then on Monday Hampden Park for Scotland against the Czech Republic. Both those games live here on TalkSport. Later on today, Denmark against Finland at 5 o'clock over on TalkSport 2. Belgium against Russia here on TalkSport at 8 o'clock. Every single game from Euro 2020 live across the TalkSport network. And at the moment, in match number 2, Wales have work to do. 53 minutes played in Baku, trailing Switzerland by a 1-0. And it's a goal which we have to say Switzerland deserve on the balance of play. Wales have had only 2 attempts on goal so far, and both were very early on in the game. Now Akanji for Switzerland. Plays it back in field towards Fabian Schär. Early ball forward, almost picks out the run of Shaqiri, who apologises as the ball evades his grasp and goes behind for a goal kick to Wales. Dean Saunders, the former Welsh striker, 75 caps, is alongside us here in Baku, and looking at the Wales bench. Eventually, who could you bring on to maybe change the course of this game?
Well, you know, we talked about it at half-time, stay in the game, but warning signs are there again, and Mbolo with Chris Mepham is getting the better of him. So I'd start considering right now, before we go 2-0 down, matching them up and playing the same system as them, with 3 centre-backs, wing-backs, Manfaman and Shaqiri, put 2 up front.
Bale played a high ball forward, which almost picked out James on this near side, but Mbabu defended it well. And his attempt to move forward was quickly halted by Ramsey at the expense of a Swiss free kick. But it comes to nothing, and it's gathered by Danny Ward, who made an excellent save right at the start of the second half to deny Raylan Bailo. But from the resulting corner, the Swiss striker scored the opening goal.
As I said, they're decent strikers, they're not lethal. If they were lethal, we'd be 3-0 down. But they're decent strikers and they're getting the better of our two centre-backs, so give them some help.
This is Wales' fifth match in Baku. They previously met Azerbaijan in various qualifying games, including that 2-0 success here in November of 2019, which eased their progress towards the European Championships, as Wales do well to win it back. And now James has it down the left-hand side, looking to attack the penalty area, drops it off towards Ramsey. Early ball wide to the far side. Roberts will play it back towards Morel. The cross in is glanced on by James. Volley clear inside the 6-yard area by Cher. Wales look to win it back, but Davis's header forward is blocked by Mbolo. And the early ball forward from him almost finds Seferovic. Now it does. A mistake from Mepham. Wales under more pressure here. Seferovic wide on the far side, finding Rodriguez. Infield towards Seferovic again. Shaqiri in the central area was caught by Morel. Goes down. Morel tells him to get up, and the referee Clement Turpin agrees. Now Mbabu for Switzerland. 57 minutes played here on Euro Game Day Live on Talk Sport. The Swiss leading by a goal to nil. Raylan Bolo in the early moments of the second half. A long time for Wales to recover and take something from this game, but at the moment they need to change the course of how it's panning out, as Davis does well to rise on this near side and beat Mbabu to it, and he can career forward for Wales. Down the left, James was the obvious outball, but it's square in field towards Ramsey. Here is Roden now. High ball wide to the far side, and Roberts. Baylor walking pace just inside the Swiss half. Now he receives the ball. Roberts makes the run beyond him, but Bale pings a high ball from right to left to find James, who brings it down superbly. He can break towards the penalty area. The cross in is deflected. It almost breaks at the far post, and in the end the shot is blocked, and it's scrambled clear. It was Connor Roberts who fired it towards goal, but the Swiss are able to clear. Now Morel has given the ball away in a dangerous area and concedes the free kick, but Wales, brighter signs.
Yeah, great chance. Again, it's the man James down the left wing. He's dragging it with his back foot, dragging it at the full-back, drags it to the byline, bends the cross in over his foot, and Connor Roberts is coming in from the opposite side, strikes it 12 yards out. Great block. Looked like he was going into me.
Elvedi wide towards Mbabu for Switzerland on this near side. Poor ball from him. That's a rarity, straight out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Wales.
So if he wanted to change the shape, he's got Brooks, Wilson, he's got Chris Gunter, who can play anywhere across the back. He can change it quite easily, depending on how he feels. I mean, I feel we're more liable to go 2-0 down than get a goal back. But things can change.
Here is Bale now, looking to attack Rodriguez down the Wales right. Comes in field. It's another high crossfield ball from him to find James. Sumptuous first touch from Dan James. He'll look to attack the penalty area. The challenge comes in from Mbolo, and Wales have a corner. And now Mbolo is having to double back and try and help out Mbabu to deal with the threat of James, which is a good sign for Wales. James will take the corner, and Mbolo has gone down and stayed down just outside the penalty area, and the Swiss goal scorer will require some treatment here. As we approach the hour mark in the capital of Azerbaijan, Wales trailing in their opening game at Euro 2020.
Plenty of time left, Nige. You're obviously 1-0 down. You're thinking you can't afford to lose the first game. Would a draw be okay? It's not a disaster, 1-1. But if we go for it now and give another goal away by going for it, then the points are gone probably. So Pagey has to earn his money now. He has to stand there and think tactically, when do I make a change, what do I do, and who do I bring on?
And Bowler was headed off towards this near side, so Switzerland will defend this corner kick with only 10 players. James in towards the 6-yard area, headed away though, but the shot will be fired back in by Ben Davies, and it's rising too high, but it took a deflection and Wales have another corner.
It's obviously got blocked, but do you know when the ball was on its way, Nigel, I thought it was Bale it dropped to on his left foot, but it was Ben Davies. And it's a block. It's going in.
Just glanced the shoulder of McCanny on the way through. And James will try again on this near side. Wales trailing with 61 minutes played. Dan James in the corner, which is poor, far too deep, and it will bobble away where Xhaka has time to control in the right back area and play the ball forward for Switzerland. And very quickly they've got white shirts moving forward towards the Wales goal, but Rodriguez with a pass which is intended for Shaqiri but cut out by Davis. Now Joe Allen for Wales. Wide to the far side, picked up by Bale in the central area. Bale looking to take them all on, but in the end the challenge comes in for McCanny. Both players crumple to the turf and Switzerland come away with the ball. And Gareth Bale at the moment has the air of a man looking to get involved to really help his country out by moving into that more central area. But here is Mbolo on the move once again. Excellent challenge this time from Mepham, and sliding in on Freuler is Roden to complete the clearance for Wales. Now Morrell, wide on the far side, finding Roberts. Wales looking to overload the left here with both Ramsey and James, and Allen finds Ramsey. James lurking with intent down the left-hand side. Ramsey, though, checks back in field, and the option was James on 2 or 3 occasions there, but he chose not to try and find him. Here is Mepham inside the centre circle. Now Bale once again, finding Morrell. Connor Roberts is brought into the play down the right-hand side, and this is the best pressure that Wales have enjoyed in the game so far, but they trail by a goal to nil as James gathers again down the left-hand side, checking in field beyond Mbabu, who comes in with a challenge, and it's a free kick for Wales. It will be a yellow card for Kevin Mbabu, and once again Dan James causing havoc and drawing the yellow card and giving Wales a free kick in a dangerous area.
It's not even a foul. I think it's just a fullback making a tackle. His follow-throughs probably took Dan James out, but it's a bit harsh for me, that. He's a fullback, he's trying to stop the winger, he sticks his leg out, gets the ball first. His follow-throughs hit Dan James, but harsh.
Aaron Ramsey is over the free kick. It's at almost exactly the same position from the previous one in the first half, which Gareth Bale took, following that challenge by Cher on James, which also resulted in a yellow card. Wales conceding from a set piece. Can they respond with one here? Gareth Bale is the closest player to Aaron Ramsey inside the penalty area. Kiefer Moore has dropped back towards the far post. It's Ramsey who flights it in towards that far post, and it goes all the way through. Nobody got the touch. Only about a couple of yards wide in the end of the far post, but it bounces hard onto that green carpet behind that goal for a goal kick.
That's a great ball, Aaron Ramsey, in swinging right foot from the left-hand side. It looked like a glance, and it's a goal. And it's skimmed past the face of the goal with no one touching it.
Great support from the Wales fans at the moment away to our left-hand side. But their team are trailing with 64 minutes played on Euro Game Day Live on Talk Sport, but they've been much more of a feature in the last 10 minutes or so. James back towards Davis, down the Wales left, and infield to Roden. And Wales need to try and get Ramsey and Bale a lot closer to Kiefer Moore, as Moore now controls the ball. He's challenged from behind by Cher. No free kick given. Here is Shaqiri for Switzerland, finding Mbolo, breaking into the penalty area left-hand side. Seferovic was waiting for the early cross, but it was a shot from Mbolo, and it was inches wide of that far post.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. You let the ball go into Shaqiri in the pocket, he turns. The two strikers peel down the sides of the centre-backs, and Mbolo comes back in on his right foot, tries to bend it in the far corner, just wide. I think Danny Ward would have saved it.
Change for Switzerland. Denis Zakaria is coming on to replace Xherdan Shaqiri.
He's not happy. He's shaking his head, walking off. I think the managers, what he said, they're 1-0 up, and Babu's just gone and played like a normal right back now. He's not bombing on like he was in the first half.
Well, Shaqiri has a face like thunder as he makes his way towards the technical area, and there's an embrace from his coach, and Zakaria will come on. He'll be a much more defensive-minded midfielder as Switzerland look to try and see this game out from a long way out, with 65 minutes played, but leading Wales by a 1-0 in Group A of UEFA Euro 2020 on TalkSport. Denmark against Finland at 5 o'clock over on TalkSport 2 with Alex Crook and David Connolly, and Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce will bring you Belgium against Russia at 8 o'clock as Kiefer Moore goes down on the far side, challenged by Akanji, and the decision has been given to Switzerland. And Gareth Bale, as the captain, is just having words with Clement Turpin. And Moore was looking to hold off Akanji. He goes down and it's a foul.
Curl ball down the channel. Kiefer Moore, like he does for Cardiff, he's run down the side. As he's about to control the ball, defender pushes him in the back. It's a foul.
The throwing down the line for Switzerland is quickly recovered by Wales, but Moore loses out to Akanji. Now Zakaria, first real involvement for him. Mbolo finding Elvedi, and it's right to Mbabu, who has had a fine game for Switzerland. Both of the wing backs have really offered the threat getting forward, but have been secure defensively when required. In the cricket at Edgbaston, New Zealand have been bowled out for 388 on the third day of the second test match against England. Rory Burns, though, has already gone in the second innings. England are 8 for 1, trailing New Zealand by 77 runs.
So tactically, Nigel, what the manager's done is, like you said, it's a bit early. He's made the change, but he's obviously decided 1-0 will do us. He's took Shaqiri off. He's put Sakara into the middle of midfield, and I think we'll find out if it's good management, but I think Pagey is having a chat now with Kit Simons. He's got to counteract that for us to get a result.
Elvedi goes back towards Sommer. Wales with only one attempt on goal so far. That header from Kiefer Moore, which was tipped over by Jan Sommer very early on in the game. Switzerland have had 16 attempts on goal, but only 3 of those have been on target.
Yeah, it sounds bad, that stat. It's not what we're watching, them stats. 60 sounds like they've battered us. They haven't.
Wales have a throw-in on the far side. I think both teams will have targeted this game as one they need to win, considering the other teams in the group. And at the moment, Switzerland are heading towards 3 points, but they have a really difficult travel schedule. Following this game, they travel to Rome to face Italy on Wednesday, and then they come back here to Baku for their final game against Turkey. So they will be clocking up the air miles in the next 8 days or so. Wales, of course, with back-to-back games here in the Azeri capital, both live on TalkSport, and will also be in Rome for the conclusion of the group stage against Italy. As Bale comes forward now, down the right-hand side. Freuler makes the challenge, but it's back infield towards Ramsey. Both Ramsey and Bale are looking to get closer together, but they've given the ball away here. And very quickly, Switzerland look to turn defence into attack with Mbabu. Back towards Zakaria. And the press from James will force Zakaria back towards his own goal, and then he runs the ball out of play as he receives it back from Fabian Schär, and Wales have a throw-in on this near side. No obvious movement from the Wales bench at the moment. Allen finding Davis. Davis looking to find the space to move forward. It breaks for Kiefer Moore on the edge of the penalty area. Allen now spreading the play wide to the right hand side, and Roberts. Bale receiving the ball with his back to goal, back towards Roberts again, and here is Bale now, the opportunity to attack Akanji, and he's gone beyond him into the central area, threads it through, looking for Ramsey inside the box, but Switzerland shut the door once again. Now Ben Davis, high cross into the area, brought down by Kiefer Moore. There's confusion there inside the area. Battling for it was Connor Roberts at the far post, and it's hooked away by Rodriguez. And Wales have a throw-in, and they're just beginning to crank up the pressure here.
They've gone to a 4-5-1, so they're allowing us to come on to them a little bit more than they were. And Bowles just playing a little bit deeper.
Now Allen plays it all the way back to the halfway line. And Roden. Davis. And the Swiss now playing a lot deeper than they were for much of the opening 70 minutes or so, but they still lead here, and time just beginning to run out for Wales. 19 minutes to play as Morrell finds Roberts on the far side. The Wales are just beginning to pick their passes around the penalty area. Here is Bale. Roberts made the run in field from the right. I think Bale was looking for him to overlap, so it's all the way back to Rodon. He tried to find James, but it was quickly cut out by Mbabu, and Switzerland have the opportunity to break once again. Zakaria over the halfway line into the feet of Seferovic, but he's only found Ramsey. Can Wales find the pace on the counter-attack now? Ramsey inside the centre circle, wide towards Allen. Allen finding James. The challenge comes in from Alvedi, but it's quickly regathered by Ramsey once again. Allen on the halfway line. Bags of space for Bale and Roberts down the right-hand side if Wales can work this. Bale now shuffling towards the challenger Freuler on the edge of the penalty area. Cuts back in field, and then a high ball wide to the left, and James again. Early ball towards the penalty area. It's on towards Davis. High cross to the far post is too deep initially, but it's headed behind, and it's a Wales corner.
Well, great passage of play from us there. Switching it from side to side. Gareth Bale ends up clipping it across, and there's a great bit of third man running in the box. Cross to the back post, and they've had it headed out for a corner, so we could do with a goal now. I think if we get one, we might get two.
17 minutes to play. Dan James makes a weary walk across towards the far side to take the corner kick for Wales. Is this the moment they finally arrive at UEFA Euro 2020? It's played short. Morrell with a cross. Oh, the header is in! Kiefer Moore with the equaliser! And that is why he had to be in this Wales team. Absolutely immense from Kiefer Moore, and Wales are alive at UEFA Euro 2020. Wales won, Switzerland won.
Get in there. Robert Page, a genius. we all thought he was going to play Harry Wilson. He stuck with Kiefer Moore, and that's why he's there. Short corner, great ball in. It's a great header. He's attacked the ball, Alan Shearer-like, coming towards the ball, guiding it in the far corner. Brilliant header, brilliant cross, but the passage of play just before it got us the corner. Well done. Pagey must have been thinking, what's he going to do? Am I going to have to change it? Now he can change his tactics again. But I think we'll go on and win it now.
Different game now.
Well, we've got the momentum. And then you've got to say, they were playing well, Switzerland, and their manager has gone to a 4-5-1 a little bit too soon, invited the pressure on, and it's cost them.
Change for Wales as well, and it's David Brooks who is coming on to replace Dan James. And credit to one of the unsung players in the team, Joe Morrell. What a cross for that goal.
Well, I was just praising Robert Page. What's he took Dan James off for? I hope he's not injured.
Well, it's just had a word with James as he heads towards the tunnel, or the technical area.
He must be.
He's heading back towards the tunnel area.
That is a blow. He's played great. Man of the match for me.
too happy at coming off either. But he strode towards the tunnel, and he was the player who was creating the danger, but
All game, Nigel. He must be injured. Surely.
But Wales are level in a game which seemed to be slipping away from them. Kiefer Moore has come up with his 6th international goal. If it wasn't for him, Wales wouldn't be here, and now they've arrived because of him.
Yeah, and his presence in the box. You know, like when you got a big striker, what people sometimes forget is not only, even if they don't score, they stop the defenders heading it out, so you can get people into the box, midfield players, and the ball's dropping around in the box just because of the presence. I mean, we see Peter Crouch used to do it. He used to come on as sub, and it was chaos sometimes. Well, Kiefer Moore is 6'6". He won't be a Cardiff long.
I'm sure Mick McCarthy's delighted you're saying that. Here is Freuler now coming forward. Wide towards Rodriguez. Wales have to be careful here. They don't concede, having worked so hard to score the equalising goal. It's Zakaria inside the penalty. A great cross in the far post. It was headed back across the face of goal by Mbolo, but the ball had spun behind. And it's a goal kick for Wales. But once again, Braylon Mbolo showing what a fine player he can be.
Well, my stomach turned there as that ball was in the air, Nigel. It was going, you could see from where we sat, it's going right on Mbolo's head. Great ball in. Fortunately, he just couldn't get his head round it. It was just a little bit too high.
1-1, 13 minutes to play. And Wales have a free kick midway inside their own half. The challenge from Granit Xhaka on Aaron Ramsey. We have barely mentioned Granit Xhaka in the second half. He has hardly seen the ball at all.
I don't think he mentioned him the whole of the first half. He's done nothing.
Wales coming forward now with Brooks. First real involvement, finding Davis. Bale has now pulled away to the left-hand side. Davis with a high ball in, looking for Kiefer Moore. It's overhit, was it? Yes, it was. It's gone behind before it was delivered back in field. And it's a goal kick.
Looks like a straight swap. Brooks for James. Bale's come over to this side of the pitch, the left-hand side. Brooks has gone on the right. Whether they'll swap over again, we'll see. Right, we've got the momentum. Now it's... You've got to be brave now and go for it.
The Wales fans dancing away to our left-hand side. 1-1 the scoreline. Thanks to Kiefer Moore. And the big debate all week here in Baku was, would he play, should he play? And it showed there why he had to play.
I know he's a Cardiff player, and I want Cardiff to do well, and Swansea and Newport, but I think Kiefer Moore's going to end up in the Premier League.
Now there's a challenge by Freuler on the halfway line on Mepham. And Wales have a free kick. Mepham is absolutely furious with the nature of the challenge. He got the ball away from Freuler. And Freuler just trod on his Achilles. That's a nasty one.
Yeah, they hurt them. 2 studs down the back of your Achilles.
But Wales play on. Brooks found by Roberts on the far side, the right. Moore and Bale wait in the centre. Brooks delivers a low ball towards the edge of the penalty area. It's Morel. He plays it square. Lining up the shot is Davis, and this time he never really gets hold of it. It spins off the outside of his right boot, and it's behind for a goal kick. And we have 11 minutes to play on Talk Sport, live at the Euros here in Baku. Wales 1, Switzerland 1. Wales scoring with only their second effort on target, and they both come from Kiefer Moore headers. Mbolo on this near side, quickly challenged by Bale, and Wales come away with the ball, but Mbolo goes down sufficiently to ensure he gets the free kick.
So 10 minutes ago, Mbolo dropped into a 4-5-1 just behind the striker. He's now been pushed back up there, and they were causing us problems. Them 2 strikers started getting the better of Roden and Mepham, and now he's back up there again, so I'm a bit worried about that. Need some help.
The Barber's ball forward is quickly cut out by the bearded Joe Allen on this near side, but it's a throw-in for Switzerland in front of their technical area, and Vladimir Petkovic made the change very early on to go more defensive and take off Shaqiri, and maybe it's come back to bite him.
Yeah, right now they need Shaqiri.
But Mbolo pokes it on towards Seferovic inside the penalty area. Rodin, though, does well to initially hold him up, but Seferovic is strong enough to win it back. And now the shot guided into the penalty area by Zakaria. It's blocked and breaks kindly for Wales, and they will try and break now with Bale down the left-hand side. A good ball forward as well. Here is Ramsey, but Elvedi tracked him. And it's a throw in to Wales, but the game is so stretched now. So many tired players up there in the heat. It could go either way with 10 minutes to play here on TalkSport.
But what Kiefer Moore just done there is as important as getting shots off. He's on the halfway line, re-clear the ball, and because he's on his toes, he gets to the clearance first. Owns it up, that gets us up the pitch. If he's on his heels and centre-backs keep getting in front of him, they're just having wave and wave of attack.
Throwing for Wales on this near side. Davis long towards the penalty area, and the blonde-haired Elvedi will clear, but Wales win it back, and here is Davis now in a crossing position, but Mbabu comes across to wrap his legs around and make the challenge, and it's a throw-in for Wales by the corner flag on this near side, and we have 9 minutes to play on TalkSport here in the capital of Azerbaijan, and it's the Wales fans who are singing at the moment. Wales pushing hard for a winner after trailing for so long in the second half. Bale is winding up for the long throw, and he's got bags of room to prepare for it on this near side. Kiefer Moore will surely be the target once again. Low and flat from Bale in towards the penalty area. It's nodded clear, fired back in by Morel, but it was blocked well on the edge of the box by Seferovic. Rebounds back towards Mepham. Mepham with a low ball forward towards Brooks, but Brooks was lightweight in the challenge, but Joe Allen wins it back, hooks the ball over his shoulder, looking for Bale, who challenges for it with Mbabu. It's back towards Bale again, the back heel, releasing Brooks, great ball into the penalty area, and it's just beyond the Wales player who was coming in at the far post, and Wales there were inches away. It was Aaron Ramsey who was so close to the winning goal.
Well, what a ball. Brooks, his left foot slid it across the face, inviting a tap-in, and Aaron Ramsey, maybe with one more game under his belt, he might have got his toe on that.
That was almost Gaza in Euro 96, inches away.
Would you take a draw, or do you think we should go for the win?
Well, I think they should go for the win, but in the circumstances a draw is probably not a bad result, but long way to go as Zakaria comes forward into the penalty area, challenging Davis, fouling Davis, and it will be a free kick. But whatever happens here, Dean, I think the way Wales have played in the last 20 minutes or so will give them so much optimism heading forward into two tough games.
Yeah, you know, teams are allowed to score past you first, and it's how you react to that. Are you going to put your head down, or are you going to say, well, come on? You know, it happens every day in training where we have 8v8, someone goes in front first. You don't drop your head in training, so don't do it in a game. So they haven't dropped their head, they're coming back at the Swiss. I'm just a bit concerned in trying to get the winner. Are we going to leave the two centre-backs 2v2?
Mario Gavranovic is coming on to replace Haris Seferovic. Seferovic had a couple of decent chances in the first half, but he's rather wilted in the heat here. Gavranovic scored a hat-trick in the final warm-up game against Liechtenstein, plays for Dynamo Zagreb. Like his coach, he was originally born in Bosnia as Moore lofts a rather dicey ball wide to the far side, but it's recovered by Roberts. He pings it forward looking for Ramsey, but it's quickly cut out by Xhaka. Wide towards the far side, and Mbolo. Now Xhaka again. Zakaria in support for him, but it's back to the halfway line. And Cher is given room to bring the ball forward for Switzerland. Mbolo turning on the edge of the area. Lays it back in field to Xhaka. Xhaka finding Cher, who heads it on. It's flicked in towards Gavranovic, and Gavranovic with his first touch has scored for Switzerland. Wales appealing for offside, but nothing was given. And after working so hard to equalise, Wales may have lost this in the final 5 minutes. Mario Gavranovic has made it 2-1 to Switzerland.
Looked offside. We see the replay now. It's offside.
Well,
it's offside. Clearly offside. So the ball's got played into the middle, flicked into our box, and ball's got above Connor Roberts, headed it into the middle of the goal, and he's offside.
Well, Wales are saying it's offside. And Danny Ward still has the ball inside the penalty area. Switzerland are celebrating, and they are checking it on VAR. Francois Letexier is the French VAR. They're checking for that potential offside leading up to the goal.
Are the viewers on television, or are we going to get to see the lines?
Well, this is drama here in Baku. The second day of Euro 2020.
Definitely offside.
Switzerland believe they've scored a potential winning goal.
I'm looking at the screen now. It's flashing.
And the referee has given offside.
Well done.
Thank goodness for that.
Well
no
done.
goal. And Wales, their fans celebrate as if they've scored. It is back to 1-1 with 4 minutes to play. Switzerland are denied. It was a wonderful move, but Gavranovic made his move too soon before he volleyed the ball beyond Danny Ward. He was offside, and Wales can breathe again.
Now, I can understand the linesman not getting it right, but it was one of them balls that gets flicked over the top of your defence, and the striker's up making a run, sprinting through, and the ball, as it's looped over, he's a yard offside. Thank goodness.
1-1 it remains. 3.5 minutes to play here on Talk Sport. What a dramatic second half we've had here in the capital of Azerbaijan as Ramsey looks to win it back from Elvedi deep inside the penalty area. That was the first touch for Gavranovic, but he'd made his move too soon in behind Mepham. And on our monitors we can see the Wales fans celebrating that VAR decision. Sometimes it goes for you, and it has for Wales here today.
On the upside, we've shown some courage and determination fight, and been brilliant to get back in the game. On the downside of today,
here is an opportunity for Switzerland, breaking forward again. The shot is wide though from the edge of the penalty area, and it was Gavranovic again, and once again the flag is raised for offside, not against him. He fired the ball towards the edge of the penalty area, and it took a touch off a Switzerland player, and the free kick has been given to Wales.
he is an experienced striker who's got goals in the past, but the downside, I was going to say exactly again what I was going to say. Our two centre-backs are struggling to play against two strikers at this level. So Robert Page is going to have to have a look at that.
Well, they only have one striker on Wednesday, Yilmaz.
And he's just won Lille the league, more or less on his own, with his goals.
From the free kick, Bale challenging Mbabu in the air. It drops to Davis. Davis with the high ball forward, flicked infield brilliantly by Ramsey. Here is Bale inside the penalty area. The shot though was blocked well by Akanji, and it loops harmlessly into the arms of Sommer.
Well, I think we're all expecting that to go in. When it dropped to Bale, Ramsey back heel, Bale 10 yards out on his right foot though, got blocked. Could have gone in.
90 seconds of normal time to play. 1-1 here in Baku. Mbola, who has been excellent running the ball through beyond Freuler. He's got support from Zakaria inside the penalty area, right hand side. Great cross in from Zakaria, and it's blocked at the near post by Rodon, and it will be a corner for Switzerland, and they are going for the winning goal here.
Well, we've got away with it again. We are like a sieve in the middle of our midfield. They're just running through us. Strikers are getting too much service, getting too many balls rolled into the feet. Got to address that.
Rodriguez will take the corner. The previous one from this side led to the goal from Mbola. Wales have got to stand firm here in the 90th minute in Baku. Rodriguez with a delivery high into the penalty. Another free header, and this time it's tipped over the top by Ward, and it was Mbola once again. They didn't learn the lesson, and Danny Ward has bailed Wales out in the 90th minute.
That's exactly the same thing, but they've swapped. Joe Allen's marking him.
You put somebody smaller on him.
I don't get it. He stood 4 yards out having a wrestle with Joe Allen, who's 5'7".
Wales have got to clear this. It's an outswinger this time from Rodriguez, and Kiefer Moore rising, and Wales do clear, but it's won back by Xhaka. Clever touch to find Rodriguez again. The cross is driven in all the way to the far post. It's controlled by Zakaria. High ball in again, and Wales have the opportunity to clear, but in the end it's headed behind by David Brooks. I'm not sure he got a call, but he knew that Rodriguez was somewhere in the vicinity, and Switzerland have a corner here, and we are into an additional 5 minutes here on TalkSport. 1-1.
Come on, got to defend properly from this corner. They could have scored 4 from corners.
Rodriguez again with the outswinger, and it's over the head of Akanji, and Zakaria will have to track back to this near side to keep the ball in play. Plays it back towards Xhaka. Now Zakaria once again. And Wales are very deep on the edge of their own penalty area. And there are some very tired players out there, and Wales will have to do so much conditioning work over the next 3 days or so before they play Switzerland, Turkey here on Wednesday. As Switzerland come forward again. 4 minutes of added time to play. 1-1. I think Wales would take a point at this stage. Zakaria back towards Xhaka on the edge of the penalty area, clips it in, headed away well though at the near post by Rodon, and there's an opportunity for Wales to break, but it's given away by Morel, and Mbabu can challenge on the edge of the penalty area. He finds Gavranovic, and the shot is tipped away superbly.
What a save, Danny Ward. He's given offside the linesman, but it's still an unbelievable save from Danny Ward. They've got in again, playing football in front of our 2 centre-backs, slid a through ball, he's just offside. It's the same player.
Gavranovic
has got in again, trying to hit it across Danny Ward, and he's got a tip on it, but he was offside.
Change for Wales. Ethan Ampadu is coming on, and Aaron Ramsey is coming off. His fitness is held up for 92 minutes. And Ampadu will come on to try and halt the surges from the Swiss right down the centre.
I think, like Hugh said at half-time about the running stats, I think you'll find Ramsey has covered a lot of ground today, and Bale, without really having the normal impact they have. But Dan James, I thought, played great. I've got to say this, and as blunt as this, and I've been a manager, I know how difficult it is, I think their managers cost them the game.
He took off Shaqiri when the game wasn't won.
Shaqiri should be on there now, he's the best player.
No doubt that Danny Ward has been Wales' best player today, but his clearance downfield knocks over a drinks dispenser inside the Wales technical area. And we are into the 93rd minute here. 2 more games coming up across the TalkSport network at 5 o'clock. Denmark against Finland on TalkSport 2, and then Belgium against Russia. That match in St Petersburg, we'll have it at 8 o'clock on TalkSport. England tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Scotland on Monday at the same time, but Wales hanging on for a draw here in their opening game as Mbolo drives across into the penalty area, and it's blocked at the near post, and it will be another corner for Switzerland.
We need the whistle to go, Nigel. We need him to blow up. We're hanging on.
The corner on the far side, which Rodriguez will take. Akanji looks to make that run towards the near post, which we've seen him do already. The outswinger from Rodriguez, flat delivery as well, and somehow it's defended. I don't think anybody got a decisive touch. Now Xhaka's ball back into the area, and Danny Ward is there to claim, and you can hear the sighs of relief from the red wall on the far side, and also here in the commentary box.
Yeah. I mean, before the game you take a 1-1.
You said 1-1, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I just thought both teams nervous, both teams happy with a draw. As long as you don't lose the first game, you're still in it. We needed to win this game really, but a draw's not a disaster.
Both teams, of course, have Turkey and Italy still to come.
Turkey won't be that bad again.
Let's hope they are on Wednesday. Akanji with a high ball forward for Switzerland once again. Good defending though. Rodon heads it forward. Kiefer Moore nods it down for Bale. We've got 15 seconds of added time to play as Gareth Bale gets those legs moving down the left-hand side. Looks to break towards the penalty area. Only Brooks in the centre, but the challenge comes in from Elvedi, and there may just be time here for Wales to hurl this ball into the penalty area.
On long throw, Gareth Bale. Who are you going to aim it at? Maybe Kiefer Moore, corner of the 6-yard box, throw it on his head, flick on, surround Kiefer Moore and hope the ball drops to one of our players. We win the game.
This will surely be the final movement of the game. Davis will take the throw in, short to Bale, and that is it. Honours even here in Baku. Wales come back to earn a point in their first game at UEFA Euro 2020 thanks to Kiefer Moore, a thumping header. With 16 minutes to play, Switzerland took off Xherdan Shaqiri, and that seemed to cost them in the end. Both sides could have won it towards the end. Switzerland piled on the pressure, but the red wall stood firm. Full time in the Olympic Stadium in Baku. Wales 1, Switzerland 1.